I wish it was a bit more convenient. Hi there, I'm Sid, and this is going to be my review of the iPhone SE. I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of this phone by now. It's Apple's latest iPhone, and its USP is its small size, its convenient form factor. And I was very excited to see how Apple pulls this one off. And for Apple, it makes sense to launch a small 4-inch iPhone because in 2015, they sold 30 million devices with 4-inch screen size, 30 million iPhones. So I've been using this for around a week now, and I know all its features, pros and cons, which I'm now going to share in this review. Also, I'm going to answer the very important question, whether or not you should buy this phone. So without any further ado, let's just straight away jump into my review. So what you need to know first about this phone is that it basically is a fusion of iPhone 6s with iPhone 5s. Hence it's got the specifications of iPhone 6s, but in iPhone 5s's body. And the design for that reason has not changed much from the iPhone 5s. It has still got the brushed aluminum back, but the quality of aluminum is better on this one. Apart from that, you still have chamfered edges on the sides, you've got the speaker grill at the bottom, you've got the circular volume rockers, which I kind of like more than what you find on current iPhones. In fact, I like the overall squarish design of this phone compared to the iPhone 6 and 6s. And the reason for that is that it feels more sturdy, it feels more premium, if I may say so. And my favorite part is that it can stand on its own, even vertically. But the only issue I have with this phone is that it's very similar to iPhone 5s, and people would not recognize at a first glance whether you're carrying an iPhone 5s or iPhone SE. Unless of course you buy the rose gold color, which not everyone likes because it's kind of pink. But having said that, it is still one of the most convenient phones I've used till now for a very long time. And I'll give you an example for this. I went to Goa a couple of weeks back and I was carrying my Galaxy Note 5. And all that while I was wondering how do I fit it in my shorts pocket, how do I fit it in my track pants pocket. And you don't have those kind of troubles with a phone like this. It can fit in all your pockets, it can fit in all your purses, all your zips. And the reason for this convenient form factor is the small screen size. Yes, it does feel small at first, considering I'm generally used to a 5.7-inch slate. But again, it is so convenient. You don't need to adjust your grip to reach the notification bar or selecting an app that is situated on the corner of the screen. Plus, I can type with one hand on this one. And while it does take some time to get used to the feel of typing with both hands, it won't be an issue after a couple of hours. And I personally liked using the SwiftKey keyboard with this one. For swiping is so much more convenient on this screen. So am I saying the screen size is perfect? Well, it depends on what you do with your smartphone. While it's very convenient to dial numbers with one hand and web browsing is not an issue, it does not feel inadequate while surfing the web, it does feel small while watching movies because they already have black bands around them and on this display they appear even smaller. Also, due to its resolution, you cannot watch full HD videos on YouTube, and reading YouTube subtitles is impossible on this display. Lastly, I had trouble reading text within the apps. But one thing I noticed is that iOS runs better on this screen size than on others. And I'm not a big fan of Apple's mobile operating system because even in its 9th version, it offers fairly limited customizations. You can't even choose to place app icons at a distance. In fact, wallpaper and ringtone is probably the only thing I can change. But I digress, this is not a software review, this is a smartphone review. So as I was saying, iOS runs a bit better on this screen size. For example, I've always missed the back button on the iPhones. The only way to go back was to tap here on screen, and that was far to reach. But now it isn't. Also, Apple has integrated reachability shortcut in its newer iPhones, which means they too acknowledge this discomfort. But I still need a back button, for there is no way to close or hide the keyboard once it's open. But having said that, if you are a fan of Apple's OS, you'll love every bit of it. It has got all the new features of iOS 9.3, which include night shift and the ability to switch between color tones. You have Siri, you have iCloud, and you have App Store for apps and games. And talking about games, there was no issue whatsoever in terms of quality, both visual and performance. It handled all extensive titles just as good as iPhone 6s would. Not surprising considering they have got the same processor, and it certainly feels so. But I still won't recommend this phone to a hardcore gamer for three main reasons. Firstly, as we have already discussed, reading in-app text is an issue. And apart from that, the petite size of the in-game buttons is another problem. And lastly, when you play the same game on a bigger screen, you are bound to feel that pinch. So the question is not whether it can play games or not. The question is whether you would want to play on this size. Having said that, apart from gaming, in general performance too, it's very snappier. I had no issues in terms of speed. But the only thing you'll miss on this phone is it does not have 3D touch. So it means you cannot access those pressure sensitive shortcuts. Plus, fingerprint scanning is slower on this one compared to iPhone 6s. iPhone 6s uses a Touch ID 2.0, the second generation of the fingerprint scanner. And this one is still stuck on Touch ID 1.0, which was used in iPhone 5s. So the bottom line here is, it is not the same phone as the iPhone 6s. But I'll first talk about the cameras. Cameras on iPhone have always been great, and the rear camera on iPhone SE is same as iPhone 6s. So you get a 12 megapixel camera that can click superb pictures in all environments, indoors, outdoors. Plus, it has all the features from its elder siblings, may it be live photos, slow-mo video capturing, time-lapse, or even 4K recording. Also, due to its size, it's very convenient for taking photos. Plus, these volume rocker keys act as shutter button and they make it even more convenient in clicking photos. So, the back cameras are excellent, but the front camera is a different story altogether. While the iPhone 6s uses a 5 megapixel Full HD shooter, this one right here is a 1.2 megapixel camera that can only shoot in HD. And while it's fine for taking casual selfies and video calls, it feels inadequate compared to the competition. But you do get Retina Flash, which adds light to your dark selfies. Now the last thing I need to talk to you guys about is battery. And while the phone does use a smaller battery, the battery life is actually pretty good on this one. It easily lasted me throughout a day and at times even more. And when I put this phone in our standard video loop test, it lasted for around full 13 hours before hitting 10%. And while the iPhones still do not support fast charging, this phone charges under 2 hours because of the small size of the battery. So now I think we've discussed all the major aspects, and now I'll give you my verdict for the iPhone SE. And here's my verdict. iPhone SE brings to the table something that has been lost in this smartphone race today, and that is convenience. It allows you to do everything you would do on a regular size iPhone, but in a much more easy and a much more convenient way. Plus it has got the same horsepower as the iPhone 6s, so performance is not an issue. So now for the big question, whether you should buy it or not. Is this phone worth it? I'm afraid not, at least if you're buying it from India, and there are two reasons for this. Number one, iPhone SE costs you 40,000 for the 16GB variant, which in my opinion is not sufficient for 2016. And if you go for the higher 64GB variant, it's obviously more expensive. And the number two reason is that what we have established throughout my review is that iPhone SE is not the same as iPhone 6s. There are a few compromises here and there, may it be the front camera, may it be the fingerprint scanner, or may it be the lack of 3D touch. And for a couple of more grands, you can buy the iPhone 6s, which is the full-fledged iPhone. And that's what creates problem for me at least. So for whom is this phone? Well, it targets a very niche sect of people. People who are willing to pay half a lakh rupees just for the small screen size. So if you're one of them, this is the best phone you can buy. This is the most powerful compact phone out there. But for a majority of people, I think you'd rather pass. So that was my review of the iPhone SE, but I would love to hear from you. Post your questions or suggestions in the comment box below. Meanwhile, give this video a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and do subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. I'm Sid and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.